Hey there, hi there, ho there, hello there. And welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast. Where we're not podcasting, but we're coming to you live or recorded via Cardinal Couple YouTube. So if you're listening there, we thank you for that. We have made the difficult but tough decision to drop the live format and basically just go to a pre-recorded version that we'll stick on YouTube. And what else are we going to do with this thing? Case to send it to New Orleans and see if they put it in Mardi Gras. I mean, no.
It goes everywhere. I upload the podcast weekly, so no change in that realm. If you listen to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else there are myriad ways to get podcasts, that won't change. You just, like Paulie said, won't be live anymore. We'll still go up on the YouTube. We'll serve it a little bit differently because it won't be a live stream replay. It'll now just go in as a video. So we'll have podcast playlist put together. So yeah, it should, from the podcast perspective, not change much. But yeah, the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast is now no longer radio and no longer a live invitational radio. So
It's just the Cardinal Couple YouTube discussion.
Yeah, Cardinal Couple podcast, right?
Yeah, whatever it is, or we may just call it Fred. Because that's a great name for everything, you know. But we have a 3 in the house today. Jared is wandering Indiana going to see relatives. Jeff not with us today, so it's me, Daryl, and Case. So let's go ahead as we like to do and start out the show and catch up with today's participants. Let's go with Daryl today. Daryl, what is going on with yourself, young lady?
Oh, just the normal homeowner stuff we have to deal with every week. Yesterday we cut down the giant tree we have in our backyard that's been causing some problems over the past few summers with giant limbs that are hollow and but still strong enough to pierce our shed out there. Just tired of dealing with that every summer. So we're just getting rid of the tree, which was kind of upsetting to me because it was like a wildlife sanctuary. Our backyard doesn't have any dogs or any other pets that will like disturb the squirrels and yada yada. So I always thought it was kind of a squirrel sanctuary, and I had to go out there and warn them yesterday to evacuate before the chainsaws came in. And then there's this one limb that's already like halfway chopped off and it's hollow, and I've always watched it because I see the squirrels go in and out of it. I was sure that when they would cut that thing off, that like 1,000 nuts would just fall with it. But actually, when they cut that one off and it hit the ground, a possum's head popped out. So somewhere in the mix, yeah, the possum took over that territory. It was primetime real estate, and he was just really mad all day. He never came out, and I had to warn the arborists that he was in there because I don't like possums, but I'm not trying to see a possum massacre. So they left that one, and he stayed in there till nighttime last night so he could escape. He played possum all day and escaped.
He played possum all day. I like that. That's good. My only possum story, I'll make it kind of brief then, is years and years ago I used to fry up a lot of bacon. Okay, I know it's probably a bad thing to do these days, but I just used to love fried bacon, and I would do it usually on the weekends, and we would have it along with eggs and toast and stuff. But what do you do with the bacon grease, right? Well, you just pour it in a can, and you put it in your trash can. However, possums can smell that stuff. And so one day I was getting ready to take the trash out, got to the garbage can, the lid was off, and laying in a pool of bacon grease was a possum. And he was coated in it too. I mean, this was like he had just decided, hey, I'm going to the grease bacon spa. Lather me down. And he's laying there and he's just kind of looking like, I shouldn't have eaten all this grease. But he was able to hiss at me. And so I said, I think it's time for you to leave these premises. So I dumped the trash can over, hoping that he would crawl out. but he seemed to be very happy to be where he was. My brother, who was kind of living at me at the time, my brother uh, came out with a big stick and said, "Let's beat him." I said, "No, no, we're not going to beat the possum. Can't you see he's feeling bad enough as it is right now? His cholesterol level was probably 4 digits. Okay, let's just leave the trash can down, and maybe he'll crawl off." And so we did that. And about 6 hours later or whatever, went out to check on it, and he was gone. And there was this trail of grease down the sidewalk leading to the alley, where he had managed to crawl out of the trash can and crawl through my backyard and get to the alley. I hope that he got a cholesterol, screening, and that they did something for this possum.
His heart was pumping milk gravy.
It was, yeah. He had bacon grease as a pompadour, man. He was just, oof.
It was a look back then, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. And it got popular with other possums, and of course, they started, calling to get reservations for the trash can. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he was my possum story. So
Yeah, it's super fun.
yeah, possums are scary in a way to me because they seem kind of like prehistoric.
Yeah, I don't like them. It's
Yeah.
the rat tail and the coarse hair.
Hey,
Yeah.
North America's only marsupial.
Is it? I did not know that.
Fun fact.
Are we the only major country that has possums, Case, or are they worldwide?
That's a good question. I don't know that trivia fact.
Okay.
Get back to us.
Yeah,
We'll
look,
find out.
go ahead and do a little research and let us know about that. So, Daryl's cutting down trees and finding possums, and a very good write-up, Daryl's. We've kind of shifted things around here a little bit at Cardinal Couple for you all. If you love to read the website, we know a lot of you do. So, just to kind of give you an idea, I think, of the way things are going to roll for us now, just so you can kind of say, "Oh, who's on today? What's going on here?" Of course, you should listen every day, regardless who's on. Okay, that's my dictate to you. Take Cardinal Couple 3 times a day. But no, yeah. What we're doing is we're switching days around a little bit, just to give you, and I'm just going to leave it at this. Jeff McAdams has decided to start his own website, a volleyball website, and has decided to no longer write for Cardinal Couple. So we still have 4 strong authors here, and we just basically had to take his one day a week and divide it, and then did a little rearranging too, because Jared, who does so many things for us, photography wise, was requesting that he go down to one day a week. So our new format will be Case writing 2 days a week, and then Daryl writing 2 days a week. I will be writing one day a week, and Case is writing one day a week. I'm sorry, I've even got it mixed up, Case. Go ahead and give me a clear picture on what we're doing.
That's a good question. Let me come up with the math. We got 3 people that have 3 days, 1 person that has 1 day. Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
Jared so Jared and I basically will flip to he'll have just 1 day and I'll have 2 days. So instead of having Tuesday, Thursday, which is what Jared has had traditionally, he and I will still work it out. It'll probably change depending on what the schedule is, week to week probably. But as a baseline, I'll probably end up being Thursday, Saturday, maybe we'll make it Tuesday, but Thursdays probably work better. So I'll have Thursday, Saturday. Paulie, you'll have Monday, Wednesday. Daryl, like you said, will have Friday, Sunday, and Jared will cover Tuesday or Thursday, whichever one I don't write that week. So
Friday, Monday for me.
Friday, Monday for you. Sorry, got it
Yeah,
wrong.
We
So even
don't
I don't know.
what's going on here.
Even I
think
don't know. Can't keep up with
picturing
anything.
the parentheses, the open and the close on the week.
And
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll figure it out. Somebody will have the right tomorrow, and maybe that somebody will tell you what the schedule is. How about that?
And I sent that out as a suggestion to everyone, and now I can't find it.
Well, I can't read, so
And Case is still learning his primer book. Reading is fun. So
I got to like a 5th grade reading level in 1st grade, but then I stopped. So still at 5th grade reading level.
I remember speaking of old grade school stories and stuff. I remember in the 1st grade, and our big project was to write the numbers from 1 to 100. And I'll never forget this. We had these, remember the tablets that we used to have in grade school, and you had to put 10 numbers on a line and go from 1 to 100. And for some reason, I decided to stop at 66. I don't know why. My mind at that time was probably not right. Anyway,
you wrote too big, and so instead of getting 1 to 9 on each line, you could only get 1 to 6.
And nobody liked my numbers because I put a line through the 7, and nobody liked to see that. You know how the 7 is.
Do you still do the line through the 7?
I still do when I write. Yeah, and I would also. What else did I do? I also would. I did something with 6 and 9. I think I put a line under 6 and not under 9. I don't know why, but anyway. These days, I don't. I try to not deal with numbers at all. I refuse to, except when it comes to the checkbook, and then I hand it to Sonia and say, "Take care of this." But anyway, yeah. So that's we've got a new format going here, and I want to see what this format is. So somebody jump in here for me while I take a look.
Yeah, I was also looking at the same, but I have some opossum facts. I googled it and got to the World Animal Protection and we'll learn more about opossums. So this is the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour, where we talk to you about the joy and excitement of Louisville women's athletics and also the American opossum. There are possums kind of all over the place. So the opossum, which is the one that we are familiar with, originated in South America and spread to North America when the continents came together. So very migratory, which I did learn not that long ago because I had a possum story as well. We had one that we think had taken up residence under our deck, which we think because Lindsay went outside and took Rossi out. She was like, there's something under the grill. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, there's a tail. I was like, okay, great. So I went out there and just could see the rump of a possum and its tail and its back feet just out from under the grill cover. Like it had gotten into most of the way under and was like, dark enough, I'm good. It's like, yeah. All right, cool. So I got the grill cover off, thinking that this possum was gonna like react. Right? It didn't care. I took the cover off and it was like, hey man, I don't come in and turn the lights on while you're asleep. What's happening right now?
Playing possum.
Yeah, he did, but it wasn't even like he was playing dead. He just was like looking at me,
unbothered.
Like that was kind of rude. And then he didn't hiss. He didn't hiss, but he did like the open mouth, like looks like he's gonna hiss. He's like, hey, I just want you to know I'm not pleased about this. But he wouldn't go away, so I went and got like a big broom and kind of like shoot him off the deck. But then I didn't see him run away, so I was like, well, he went under the deck. That's the only explanation there. But possums are nomadic, so they don't really stay anywhere in particular.
Yes.
They move place to place, so he didn't live there for very long. But yeah, so the opossum in America. Australia also has possums, and they do not have the O. So opossum.
I don't like the O. I think it's stupid.
Well, it's the official name. So opossums live in North and South America. Possums live in Australia and other countries. But obviously the O is silent in everyday speech generally. And that's what I learned. So they're kind of all over the place. And there's like 100 and something species of them.
I learned recently that they can shimmy up vinyl siding of your house. Like they can shimmy up the house.
Yeah, they're pretty.
They got into our space.
Yeah. Well, they've got they've got those really sharp claws. So
I just don't see them like being able to get off the ground. I don't know. Just weird. But he got in the tree.
yeah, they're pretty.
Pretty gross, in my opinion. I just think they're like my quick experience when I was a kid had our neighbor whose house butt up to our backyard, and I was gonna go to her house one day, and I go out there, and what's walking on the chain link fence? A gross possum. Like, and I screamed, and I saved her from the terror of the possum and told her, "Do not come back here." And then we didn't play that day. The day was ruined. That's probably why I'm traumatized by possums.
They are among the cleanest animals.
Huh. And they probably eat the most annoying.
They eat ticks.
Yeah.
They eat cockroaches, crickets.
See, I need to broaden my opinion of the
broaden your horizons.
Yeah.
Paulie, have you figured out? Can you save us from this opossum discussion? Figured out what the writing schedule is.
Yet. But yeah, so really fun being a homer around here. What's on the slate for today, Case? I feel like I was thinking about it last week. We stopped doing scheduling.
We did stop doing scheduling.
Sometime. So, yeah.
Just because, well, and it makes even more sense to have stopped now that we're going full podcast format. People can listen kind of whenever they want throughout the week. But
True.
You know, we do have plenty of things to talk about as far as how this week has gone and the week ahead. Softball had a really exciting start to the week, and then they've had a not so exciting, more recent part of the week. Lacrosse did not have a very great week, and that might be getting worse for them today. But we'll also have some basketball to talk about, so it should be a fun show. And I think we've got Paulie back, so maybe he has figured out what hour.
And I was not able to find our format.
Who knows?
So, I think tomorrow, which traditionally would have been a day that Jeff wrote for us, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I took that day. And then Daryl, we moved you, if I'm not mistaken, to one of my days and kept you on.
I found it. I found
it. Case has found it.
Daryl will be handling Friday and Monday articles. Paulie will be writing Wednesday and Sunday articles. There we go. And then, as mentioned, I will keep Saturday, and Jared and I will arm wrestle for a Tuesday or Thursday, and he will intentionally lose. So,
and Jared is so busy with his photography work these days, not only for 3 different websites, sports-wise, but he has JDA Photography, where he is getting into the graduated seniors' photos now already, and of course also does receptions and weddings and stuff of that nature. So he's built a very lucrative side business doing photography, and it takes up a lot of his time. So, of course, we're happy for him. He does take excellent pictures, and we love to feature them here at the website. So certainly, I don't know if he ever established a website for JDA Photography. Maybe he did.
Well, you gotta be careful if you Google it when you're looking for JDA Photography. I will say that, because I did learn that there is a European, maybe I think it's French, JDA Photography that is artfully nude photography. So that's not Jared. If you Google it, you find it. It's not, that one's not Jared. So
as our boy expanded into the blue side of photography now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what is he .org then or something?
I don't know, but use Safe Search, I guess. If you're looking for JDA Photography, use Safe Search on Google.
So, well, maybe we'll get him back on here next week and find out and do a little more into that. But let's go ahead and talk sports, shall we? And enough of possums and enough of pictures. Let's go ahead and talk about things that are going on. And we can go ahead and kick it off with lacrosse. I think that would be fine, as lacrosse is on the road. And boy, they actually had a game back on the 8th. So it's been a week since they played. Unfortunately, they went out against Virginia Tech and playing the Hokies, as it were, at our stadium at the Louisville Lacrosse Stadium. Is I think we called used to call it the LLS, but that kind of died in popularity. In any event, they did bring out Virginia Tech to come in for this one. Virginia Tech, obviously one of the stronger teams in the ACC, and then defeated the Cards, unfortunately, 16-7 in that contest. That evened Louisville at the 4-4 on the season, and 1-2 in the ACC as Virginia Tech improved to 7-2 overall and 2-1 in the ACC. Thoughts on this one, gang? In case we just kind of got outscored in this one.
Yeah, we talked about that leading up to the game on Saturday because last week, we had the show before the game and we thought that Virginia Tech was a little bit of fool's gold with their performances so far this season, but it turns out that was not true. The Hokies got out to an early lead, took a 3-1 lead at the end of the first quarter, even though Louisville scored the first goal with Lauren Figgis and Nagai Nakazawa combining for what will be a very common occurrence and has already been a very common occurrence so far this season. After Louisville scored that first goal, Virginia Tech rattled off 5 straight, and 5 straight unassisted. So Louisville defense really kind of struggling to keep the ball in front of them. In fact, Virginia Tech scored only 3 goals out of their 16 were assisted. So quite a bit of blow-bys by that Virginia Tech offense. But, that just kind of is the way that it is. Louisville kept it close through the first 3 quarters. It was 9-7 entering the fourth, and then the wheels kind of fell off. Outscored 7-0 in that fourth quarter. I'm not really sure where you go from there. If you're Scott Teeter, it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah,
doesn't get any easier this week taking on Boston College on the road, who is the number 1 team and did a very similar performance to Virginia Tech. So
I think you basically, if you're Teeter, you need to have a long talk with your defense and also with your goalkeeper, Jay Pleck, and make sure that she has, because she's been in goal service for the Cards all 8 games this year. And you just have a heart-to-heart with her and say, hey, I want you to study all the film you can on this team, see what's going on with them, and know what to expect. And if you're Teeter, I don't know, maybe you start looking around, Daryl.
Well, I think you're always looking around, but you just also want to make sure that your current roster knows that you support them, and you want them to win games and do the best that they can. But yeah, I think that there's always a chance that coaches are still shopping around in this day and age of NILs or the transfer portal or whatever it is. I think they're always looking, but you still got to stay supportive of the staff in front of you, and same with the coaching. I think that the like Kay said, it was close for a while and they were able to get it tied up, and then they let the Hokies go on a huge run. So just one of those things that's just kind of deflating, and it wasn't a good week for the Cards against the Hokies, I guess, overall.
One of the things I think that Louisville has kind of lacked this year that they've had in past years is that one go-to scorer that you look to. They've got a couple that have filled in and gotten 2 or 3 goals a game and are doing good work. Lauren Figgis, for example. Nagai Nakazawa is another one. You could take a look at Reese Whitman, and also Ryan Atkins has been able to get some goals for the Cards, but they don't have that one primary go-to girl that I know of. If you found one case, let me know that they they turn to when things get tough.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's interesting, right? 3 of those 4 that you mentioned have started in every game. But Reese Whitman is the leading goal scorer and only has 2 starts. So it's definitely interesting. We have seen in years past just some really top-loaded scoring, but then after the top 2 or 3, a lot of scoring down through the field. The roster has really filled it out. And this season, you've got 4 players that are scoring a lot of goals, and then you've got some other. Ella Berg has 6 already. Izzy Cycle was 7, but it kind of drops off. Those 4 have a combined 44 goals, and Louisville has only scored 71. So the rest of the roster, not filling out that goal scoring quite as much. There's not danger from anywhere on the field, like we've seen in the past, to where you would see some other players just chip in a goal. So it's definitely interesting, and we knew that this was going to happen, right? We knew there was going to be some adjustment period to losing Kokoro, and I don't know why it is completely blanking on me right now. But the leading goal scorer from Nicole Peroni, there it is. Losing Kokoro and Nicole Peroni was obviously going to have an impact on your offense, and then defensively there's been quite a bit of changes, and so you also don't have that outlet starting from the back the same way. The offense is not developing in the same way that you have come to expect it to in the past, and so yeah, I think we're still trying to get our feet under us as far as how the offense is going to work, and like I said, the defense has to be able to keep the ball in front of them. You can't just allow a lot of free shots. Louisville has given up 93 goals so far this season. We're 8 games in, and we're being outscored by 22 already. That is not good. So Louisville's going to have to figure out. It starts with the defense. You can get the offense moving forward, and then you see where you get. Today is not going to be the day to figure that out. There's not much else to say about that, but Boston College is I've never seen somebody drop 30 on a team in lacrosse, but I think Boston College might try. And if Louisville can get away with, losing by 10, you would consider that a success, I think, at this point in the season, to get a road game against Boston College and be able to keep it not close, but at least not a complete runaway train. So, I don't know. It's interesting, and it's not like, we talk about Teeter trying to look around, but Hannah John has gotten 1 quarter of play. I was trying to see who that's against, but can't find it out easily. She's got 1 quarter of play. She gave up 4 goals.
Ooh.
So that's a 16 goal against average when you math that out, kind of like ERA in baseball, where if you give up a bunch of runs, baseball or softball, you give up a bunch of runs in a few innings, you're going to have a higher ERA. So goals against average. As your baseline, Jay Pleck has an 11.01 goals against average. Hannah John, like I said, 1 quarter of play, 4 goals for a 16 goal average. Haley Richards, another freshman goalkeeper on the roster, has 1 quarter of play, gave up 6 goals. So far, what we've seen on the roster available is not an improvement in goal. Now, both of those players are young. They've not gotten a lot of run, so there are other opportunities for them to get in and show what they can do, and part of that is them needing to get linked up better with the defense, but yeah, I don't know. The way that the season started, you get that win over Denver, and then the win over Cincinnati to start the season 2-0, and you're like, all right, we got some things going, and it was easy to follow along with Teeter's optimism after those first 2 games, and since then, it's not been as exciting. You had those 2 games at home, and then you went on the road, lost to Ohio State and Marquette. Marquette, a game they really probably should have won. get a nice win over Cal on the road to start the ACC season, and then, unfortunately, they had to take on North Carolina after that, and then Virginia Tech, like we said. I don't really know how to rate Vanderbilt. I'm not not really familiar with Vanderbilt's accolades at women's lacrosse. They're not a name we talk about regularly. I know that. So
Yeah, we know that the Cards and Scott Teeter, along with Jeff Walls, will tell you, well, it's a simple game. You just have to outscore the opponent. And I've heard even Teeter kind of mimic Walls when he says that. And you do. I mean, basically, that's how you win games. You put more goals on the scoreboard than your opponent has. Teeter has gone to a very, very talented sophomore, Reese Whitman, who, and I'm not sure if it's Whitman or Whiteman, the correct pronunciation on it, who's the sophomore, who came to us from, see if this sounds familiar, Whitby, Ontario. One of Teeter's Canadian connections there that he most likely, I would think, coached, in Team Canada and got to know her that way. Certainly a player that I think has got a very, very bright future here. I don't quite understand why he's bringing her along as slowly as he has. Last year, she only played in 4 games. Got a goal. Okay. This year, a little better, but still, I would think that it might be time to just go ahead and turn her loose and get her out there. Let her play. Let's see what happens. Certainly, you're at a point in your season where you're probably unless you get on this humongous win streak, Daryl, you're probably not going to get to the NCAA tournament right now, okay? So why not go ahead and just build for the future and see what you got on the bench? Did we lose Daryl or?
No, I'm listening. Just, I mean, I'm with you. It's just a tough decision, programs have to make, coaches have to make, and sometimes players even have to make it too. They weigh their options, and sometimes there's other contributing factors into why people make decisions. And like people like to say, it's ultimately a business, and the wins and losses the wins need to stack up. The losses need to kind of, nobody likes a losing season. Nobody likes losing. So if that doesn't change, then something has to. And yeah, I'm right there with you, Paul.
And it's interesting that they don't track field player stats. Or minutes. I mean, they don't track field player minutes in lacrosse, or they aren't this season. The box scores don't show field player minutes. The team stats don't show field player minutes. So it's hard to see. We talk about her not getting the start in those games, but playing in all 8 games. As the leading scorer, you still can't see how many minutes she's playing. She might be not getting the start, but then playing the lion's share of the minutes. I think if you're going to find a player that you say is a go-to, she's definitely up there, or is trying to develop herself to be. She has 19 shots on the season. Of those 19 shots, 17 are on goal and 13 are goals. So,
wow.
You give her the ball, she puts it in the net. Let's find a way to give her the ball more, right? Like it seems like a simple thing, but then again, you look at basketball, right? And you have a good 3-point shooter. You say give them the ball, they put the ball in the net for 3 points. Well, the defense figures that out too, right? If we're saying look how good Reese Whitman is at scoring, the defense says look how good she is at scoring. Don't let her get the ball, and that becomes a little bit of a problem. I did end up figuring out, though, the mystery of the goalkeeping. And I don't think that it's super fair, necessarily, to rate that as their only performances. Johns and Richards, their goals or their efforts, both came against North Carolina. Which, okay, that's not
at that
that's
point,
not
at
really.
that point in time, yeah, it didn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were down 10 to, what was the score at halftime? We were down 10-1 at halftime. Yeah, you don't lose anything by throwing them in there, but sure, Haley Richards did not have a great game or a great quarter. She gave up 6 goals, did not have any saves. But Johns, she had 4 goals against, but she had 4 saves. So it was not a terrible outing when Louisville was just getting absolutely pummeled. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you rate that. I think you've got to get. I'm not trying to say that JPLEC is not doing a good job, but I think you have to see what you have in goal with other opportunities than just playing against the number 2 team in a blowout.
Yeah, right now they're at 500. I'd be tickled if they could stay at 500 the rest of the way out, and maybe even climb a little bit above that. But time will tell, as we will see. Let's go ahead and move to softball and cover them a little bit. They were in action yesterday as they brought Virginia Tech softball into town. The Hokies came in, and due to the expected inclement weather today, which hadn't hit here yet anyway, but I would assume is on the way. I haven't really looked at radar. They decided to play 2 games yesterday and then finished the series on Sunday. So they came out to play 2 games, and Virginia Tech got a sweep as they beat us 10-0 and 5-2. The 10-0 game was a run rule game. The 5-2 game, we were in it late at 3-2, and then they put one out with a home run to make it 5-2, and then we just basically couldn't get any offense rolling. So I said, Daryl, what's going on with this team here? I mean, it didn't. We're just not putting up runs.
I know. I had a little more expectations for this Virginia Tech series because it's not the what was her first name? Was it Vanessa Cagle? Was it Vanessa? I don't remember her first name, but
Valerie.
I'm pretty sure Cagle was her last.
Valerie Cagle, yeah, used to be there, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought those days were over, and it kind of a little more of an even playing field, but I guess not. I mean, Virginia Tech's still a great squad. They got a big win over Kentucky earlier in the week before they headed to Louisville. So they had a mission and they got the job done so far. It's taller order than I anticipated for this team, and yeah, the fact that they were unable to score in that first game at all and just got run rolled in a double header. I'm not sure if that caused some issues in their game plans or whatever, but like you said, just unable to get the scoring going. It just seemed like Virginia Tech was able to score a lot, able to get the ball out of the field, out of the playing field. So that's a great recipe to win some games and really deflate your opponent, which just seems like what it had for this team, just not able to get the ball on the bat and move runners around.
Alyssa Zabala, who got the start in the first game, basically got off to a great start. She came out, was typical Lazala. She struck out a couple and got somebody to pop one out and got out of the first inning unscathed. Unfortunately, they decided to play a second inning. And whatever control she had, basically took a ride down and decided to go watch baseball over at Patterson down Floyd Street or something. I don't know what happened to the Cards and their ability to get outs, but she gave up a couple walks in that second inning to start things out, and then a single to give them the lead, and then it got a little crazy after that. And then, in case maybe you can explain it a little better, they got a single, which was going to score a run, maybe 2, but for some reason, Chelsea Mack, was it a time shift in hyperspace or something? She just seemed to be a couple of feet over from where the ball was, and then looked surprised when it rolled by her.
Yeah, I don't know if the wind caught it. It took a weird spin or what happened, but yeah, it gets ruled an error on Chelsea Mack in center field, a fielding error, which fielding errors in center field are usually drop balls, or you run up to scoop the ball up and just pick your glove up too fast. But I don't fully understand why, ultimately it doesn't matter. There was bases loaded with nobody out. They put a runner on, put another runner on, and she's probably going to score anyway, even if Mac fields the ball and holds her up. But the run was direct result of the error, in my view. So I don't understand why that is a earned run. Perhaps you can help Daryl, statistical or former softball umpire and scorer. What is your thought there on why that's an earned run and not an unearned run?
Oh Lord, that was not always my expertise. I've still had trouble trying to, I don't know a balk, but I know when something looks weird. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I couldn't tell you what they did, but I could tell you something wasn't right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I am also a very harsh scorer. I do not give, especially professionals, the benefit of the doubt. So I'm a very mean scorer. I don't think people would really like the way I score the games.
Yeah, I'm with you there, because I think if you're watching an MLB game or something and it goes straight to the shortstop and you see them double clutch it in their glove and then they're late on the throw and it gets scored an infield single, I'm like, I don't think so. Pretty sure he could have thrown him out.
Yep, exactly. You know exactly. Or just anything that should have been an easy fielded ball, and they exactly what you just said. It's so frustrating, but that is the professional when you get paid to play for that. But anyways.
Yeah. Long story short, I guess the official scorer said that the runner from first was coming home no matter what. I get whatever. But it ultimately doesn't matter because, like I said, they leave one runner on. If they had left two runners on, then the next batter just gets a 3-run homer instead of, or they get a couple of strikeouts. Zabala gets 2 more strikeouts. But then there would have been 2 runners on, and the home run would have been a 3-run homer. So,
lots of home runs in this series. Lots of home runs.
Lots of home runs to left. I wonder if the wind was blowing right to left.
It was very windy yesterday for those games. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, there was definitely a strong left field wind bias there as the Cards found themselves basically down 5-0 after 2 innings in this one. And at that point in time, I was watching it on the ACC Network Extra. I was unable to go out there to watch them live today or yesterday, but watching on the network, and I just kind of said to myself, well, you know what? Let's see if anybody responded to my emails. So, yeah, well, just wasn't our finest hour, so to speak. As we used, what did we use? A total of 5 pitchers in that first game. I mean, Holly just decided, I'm going to throw everybody out there except the guy who sweeps off the home plate and see what they can do. We had Harrison got a little brief appearance out there. Lindsey Millen was on the mound for a while. And then we also, who else was out there for us?
Ryan Sanders, close.
Yeah, Ryan Sanders. Yeah, Ryan Sanders got the close. We didn't even get a hit in that first game until the bottom of the 4th inning. So, yeah, I guess that's what happens when you play good teams in your conference. And I think that we can certainly say, without any hesitation on my part, I can easily say this: Virginia Tech is a very good team. You know?
Oh yeah.
They are certainly a team that I think. Well, I think they're a team that's definitely going to be headed to post-game stuff. Okay, or postseason stuff. Excuse me. How far they get, I think, depends on their 1-2 pitching combination that they've got that can kind of come in, and both of them are very capable of throwing good games at you, and even going the distance. So if you've got two pitchers like that, that's a very nice pet to have, Case.
Yeah. Um, I I think that Louisville has felt like we've had pitchers like that, and it hasn't turned out. It's just odd. We see real flashes of brilliance. I mean, Brooke Gray had a fantastic day in the second game. The offense was not there to support it, and um, it's just unfortunate. And then down the bullpen, we've gotten some good performances from Lindsey Mullen. I think this one was a tough game because there's not really any time um, to get warm, to get acclimated. Holly April has shown a really quick hook, for better or worse. I think it was for worse in that first game. I think Mullen could have settled in. We saw a really great performance from her last week. And, I don't know if we've seen enough of Izzy Harrison, which is not getting a lot of innings, but so far from last season and this season, she doesn't even go down with an at-bat scored yesterday. In 0+, 9 pitches, 2 walks, which then turn into earned runs when Ryan Sanders, inherits a bad situation. So, I don't know. The bullpen has not been great. The starting rotation has been good but inconsistent, and the offense has been very good except for when we need them to be okay. When we just need them to be okay, they can't pull that through. So yeah, it's been an enigma so far this season, I would say.
And the conference as a whole has been kind of an enigma to me, because when you take a look at the ACC softball conference standings, yeah, you expect to see Florida State up there, undefeated, having a great year, but then California, 21-4, didn't see that coming, and Stanford, 5 wins in a row, 18-3. It looks like the schools that came to visit us from the Pac out there, well, they've added to the strength of the conference, no doubt.
Who invited them? Come in here and just start winning stuff. Like, Cards haven't been in here in a while trying to earn their stripes. Who invited these guys to the Atlantic Coast? It wasn't me.
It's the All Coast Conference now. I've already committed to calling it that.
Yeah. I know. We need to trademark that phrase so the ACC has to buy it from us.
Yeah, right.
There you go. You could buy a Cardinal couple too, and it's going cheap.
And I mean, it's a big turnaround from Cal, who last season I say a big turnaround. They had a pretty good overall year. Last season in the Pac-12, though, they struggled. They were 9-13 in conference, but they did finish 37-19 overall on the season. And Stanford, they're just a good softball program. Second in the league behind UCLA, and that's not a name that surprises anybody. They finished 8th in the RPI. UCLA was 4th, but Stanford was 17-7 in the Pac-12 and 50-17 overall. So, coming in, you're like, please don't do that. I would much prefer that you don't add more teams to, like we said, sports that Louisville has been putting their nose to the grindstone and trying to make some headway in the ACC for the last 11 years. You add more teams that are like, oh, by the way, we're good at this sport. Lacrosse, we're good at that. Field hockey, yeah, hello, pretty decent. Soccer, yeah, nice to see you. And then now softball. So Louisville's just fighting another uphill battle, it seems. And shockingly, I'm sure this is a Title IX issue. SMU does not sponsor softball. So.
Yeah, and I was looking to see what SMU's record was, and I couldn't find it because they don't play the game.
Yep.
How about that? So that's a good trivia question. If you want to talk to somebody down at U of L, what do you think about SMU softball this year?
See if they're willing to lie to you, just off the
Yeah.
top.
Oh, they got pitching and they got some hitting. And so, have you been watching their intramural games? Because they don't play in our conference.
Here's the real trick question, though. What do they sponsor instead?
Ooh.
So I will tell you, SMU does not carry any of the sports that I just mentioned, except for women's soccer. So they don't carry any of those sports. They don't carry softball. They don't even have a baseball team, which is shocking in Dallas. I would have expected a little bit there, but what do you think is the sport that SMU has instead?
And I'm not going to cheat and look here. I'm going to just try to make a guess. Okay, it's a warm climate.
It's not gymnastics, Daryl.
I'm going to think it's maybe an outdoor sport.
Polo.
To kind of nail it down.
Which kind?
The horse one.
Dart throwing. Noah. Water polo. How about that?
All right. Daryl was closer with her guess of traditional polo than Paulie's.
So
Paulie's
something
water
equestrian.
Polo. It is equestrian. Equestrian
what's
their
the
other
jumping
sport.
jumping over the things?
Well, that's steeplechase, but it's just equestrian. Which
okay.
I don't know if that is steeplechase. I don't know if it's just show.
Right. Well, that makes sense. SMU.
I guess it makes sense. I mean, it's in
Mustangs.
Dallas, and Dallas is in Texas, and there's a lot of horses in Texas.
This makes me try to it makes me wonder what kind of cardinal bird sports we can incorporate at U of L.
Oh gosh,
we can't capture the cardinal birds. That's illegal. We can't ride them. That's impossible.
Well, you could have something similar, but I think it would be you wouldn't want the metaphor, but we don't have a shotgun team.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it's the only bird. Badminton. How about badminton? And then you're still hitting. You're still hitting the
traumatizing birdies.
Right? Yeah. So there's not a good sport that's like.
Yeah, these are all bad. Throw that idea away. We'll just continue to.
Yeah, I think if U of L had a badminton team, I probably would have been on it.
Paulie would have been in the Olympics.
Because I won an all-campus championship 2 years in badminton.
I believe that.
I could charge that net, shoot that birdie down, and players would just walk away from me. I won the fraternity division for 3 years, won all-campus championship for 2 years, and I only got beat my senior year by a guy who was on the tennis team. Go figure that. I filed a protest. They did not allow it.
I don't think you have to take his word for it, Daryl. I'm sure you can go down to Swain Sack and see it somewhere.
I used to love that. It was just anyway.
Where did they play?
They played actually in the old Crawford gym.
So it was indoor badminton, not the outdoor.
Yeah, it was indoor, and they would set up nets across the, going from sideline to sideline in the old Crawford gym, if you remember that facility. And when you came up from the basement or stuff, you kind of looked at it. These were running from sideline to sideline, not from goal to goal. And they going sideline to sideline. I think, if I remember correctly, they could get 3 nets up. But it's been a lot of years. 3 nets side by side by side. And it was all run by intramurals. And basically, you had a fraternity division. And actually, my roommate in college and I won doubles a couple of years too in badminton. But once you won the fraternity division, you went to the basically all campus division. And surprise, believe it or not, the black fraternities were never any good at badminton.
Were there really that many participants outside of fraternity and sorority intramurals in the all-campus division? Like, there are that many people that are just like, yeah, I'm also going to join. I'm just going to rock out and play some badminton.
Surprisingly, there were.
Huh.
some of the dorms had actually gotten up teams back then,
Mm-hmm.
and also I think there was a team made up of football players that were playing badminton because the football coach at the time, who was Vince Gibson, thought that it would be a good exercise for his guys to get a lot of running, quick cutting, and things like that nature. So he basically went to the mineral department and said, "I want to enter a team in the all campus badminton division." And at that time, they said, "Sure, go ahead."
Whatever.
Yeah. I don't know whatever happened to all those old photos down there that used to hang in the hallway of Crawford Gym, but I was in several of them, holding my trophies and smiling like an idiot. So anyway, hey, we're getting awfully close on time. Let's talk a little hoops, shall we? And kind of get some stuff going there as we're waiting with anticipation to see the 68 team bracket. Uh, I've seen some projections on this. From what I've seen and what's been thrown out there, sending the cards to Birmingham seems to be a popular choice right now. And they have Louisville, according to Charlie Crane, who is obviously very good and spends a lot of time on this. The cards will be a 7 seed and then open their tournament play in stores of all places. Not grocery stores, not convenience type stores, Case, but in stores, Connecticut.
Gross.
Gee, guess who is the home team for that 4-team pod? That's right, Gino. If the Cards can get by Oregon, then they will have to play the winner of UConn and Vermont. Yeah, I think it's going to be UConn. If they were somehow able to knock off UConn, they would be able to play. My guess is they would get a rematch with Kentucky, although West Virginia could possibly upset the Cats. I don't think the Cats will have any trouble with Liberty in their opener. Just some thoughts on the tournament game?
I fully anticipate the NCAA to try to get their Louisville Haley Van Lith rematch that didn't happen last year because the Cards went out in the first round. I fully expect them to do that. Cards versus TCU. I just want a healthy Jada Curry to come back so we can have some leadership back to this squad and be a fair fight.
That would be ideal to see if we could get it. I was just scanning here to try and see where he was predicting. Okay, he's got TCU in Region 1 in Birmingham. And so eventually, I guess they could meet in the quarterfinals.
Or he could swap us and they could swap us and Vanderbilt on the 7 line.
Yeah, very possible. And if that were the case, they would. If everything else stayed the same, we'd have to play Indiana first, and then TCU, which probably would draw quite well. The only problem being is they're playing this in Fort Worth. So, how many people are going to travel to Fort Worth to see a Louisville, Indiana matchup? I just don't see it. But then again, how many are going to travel down there to see a Vanderbilt, Indiana matchup?
Yeah. I could also see, you have to question, is Charlie Cream discounting Louisville's performance in the ACC tournament because we didn't have Jada Curry? Or were we on the 7 line and he kept us on the 7 line? It's difficult to say. Louisville obviously could have played themselves up. I think if they had beaten Duke without Jada Curry, they played themselves up to the 6 line. I would not be surprised. Daryl talked about them NCAA throwing us up against Haley Van Lith. They love a storyline, despite the fact that they say they don't. But I could also see them.
She got her conference championship at that other school and not here. Yeah.
I could also see them overseeding Louisville ever so slightly to put them in Lexington.
Yeah. Just a real quick look at what he's suggesting. The last 4 byes will be Georgia Tech, Indiana, Nebraska, and Oregon. All strong D1 programs. the last four in: Iowa State, Washington, Harvard, and Princeton. A rather heavy leading on the Ivy League, if you ask me, but nevertheless, the first four out. He's got Virginia Tech not making the tournament. I think he might be puffing on the wrong type of cigarette there. I think they're in. St. Joseph's, I can see not making it. JMU, I can see not making it. UNLV, you're gonna have some strong West Coast favoritism. I think they get in. And the next four out after that, and who really cares after the first four out? Minnesota, Murray State, Colorado, and Arizona. All that according to Charlie Crane. We will know more about, of course, this on Selection Sunday. And what is it, an 8 o'clock broadcast, King?
Are they doing it on Sunday or Monday?
Oh, that's a very good point, okay, so what is it?
Let's find out. Women's Selection Show. Oh, it says Selection Sunday.
And then when is those first four games scheduled for? You know, the ones that they play before the actual
Probably
tournament
Tuesday
proper
morning.
starts.
Yes. So the men's bracket reveal will begin at 6 p.m. on CBS. The women's NCAA tournament bracket will be revealed on 8 p.m. On ESPN. So there's that.
And so, and I guess case we need to probably talk about before we sign off here. We did a very successful ACC tournament, but do we want to venture out and do an NCAA tournament this year? Because Jared has already begged out of doing one because of work commitments. So it would be you and me, basically.
I've got it set up to rock and roll. So
okay, then it's on. It's on.
Yeah, I put out a call, a minor call today in the article. So we'll start to push that a little bit more. And once we have the bracket, you'll start seeing selections come in for the Pick'em Challenge. But yeah, I say we go for it.
And I'll do the same also and play it up. And then once we know who's doing what and going where, we'll give you links to check it out and also give you some of our picks maybe, which you should probably wad up and throw in your nearest trash can.
I was going to say, can't wait to be wrong and be mad.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this thing breaks down, who they send where, and everything else. But I will tell you one thing right now that I've been watching, and I think it's my right now prohibitive favorite to win this whole thing is Notre Dame. And I don't say that just because they kind of handled us with that ease, with a lot of ease. They have a very, very good guard combination. They're strong in the middle, and they certainly know how to score. So giving you kind of my tip here. If you want it, I wouldn't take it if I was you. But there it is. Notre Dame. Anybody else got a bold early pick yet for me?
I'd prefer to see the way the chips fall, and because circumstances happen, and just thinking of the men's tournament, like I bet you a lot of people had Duke winning the ACC tournament, and dude gets hurt, and now he's out today. I mean, yeah, they're in the championship, but you just never know how things are going to play out. So I like to see the way it unfolds, and then try to get Louisville as far as I can and manifest their success in my pen.
So we will try to have that available for you in the Monday morning article at Cardinal Couple, because we will know Sunday night basically where the cards are going in women's basketball, who they're playing, and also the breakdown of what conference or what region they're in. They used to love to send Louisville to the West Coast every year. That's why I kind of have to laugh at Charlie Crane sending us to Birmingham. because the NCAA will just automatically say Spokane. Yeah, we'll send the cards there. Who else y'all want to send there? They do it every year to us. So.
Well, Autumn Johnson does have Louisville in the TCU matchup. They've got she's got Louisville as the 7 against TCU as the 2, with Notre Dame as the 3 in that region.
And here's where we're all supposed to pretend to be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee, Autumn, how did you come up with that? Yeah. Okay. But hey, what we've come up with is a very good show for you today. And if you're listening on the Cardinal Couple YouTube page, we hope you enjoyed it. And let's go with some final thoughts from our participants today. Daryl, what do you got for me as far as final thoughts?
Just thinking about Selection Sunday. I really want to see a good draw for the Cards with no biases, but that's impossible. A healthy Jada Curry. I want her and Marissa to come back. Their minutes and their defense and their leadership is huge for this squad, and we really missed them in the ACC tournament. So I'm hoping to Jada got her rest, and I am excited to watch where they end up in the tournament.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on there. It's going to be fun. Case, what do you got for me?
Yeah. The track and field is at the NCAA Indoor Championships this weekend. KJ Bird is 8th, halfway through the men's heptathlon, so he'll wrap that up today. Trying to get a really nice performance as a freshman in that event. Natalie Lark, in the pole vault, earned honorable mention All-American in her event yesterday. And then Jade Norwich will try to improve on 6th place finish that she had in the women's shot put last year, here in a couple of hours as we record. So, congrats to the Cards that made it to this stage, and we'll see how they can finish up.
Absolutely. As Jaden continues our strong history of field event participants, let's wish her all the best. As for me, I've got to admit it, and I won't lie about it. I love this time of year because of basketball. To see the matchups, to see who plays what, where. It's just something where my wife will come in and look at me and raise an eyebrow and going, "What game is this?" And I'm like, "Can't you see? Can't you see I'm watching Baylor versus Montana State?" And she'll turn around and walk out and go, "What do you want for lunch?" Mumbling. She's learned to live with it, gang. It's my time of year. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast today on the podcast, and certainly until next time, I will end with the traditional Go Cards.